Steiner Ranch is a very unique neighborhood in Austin, and it's kind of a polarizing neighborhood because people who live there absolutely swear by it, and people that don't live there sometimes don't really get it. So in this video, I'm going to deep dive into all the different segments and see how does Steiner stack against its competition. Steiner Ranch is located at West Austin, relatively close to Lake Way. And the unique thing about Steiner is its topography. It's located on a hill sloping all the way downwards towards the lake. So they have a private access to the Colorado River. This location is kind of a double-edged sword situation depending on your perspective, because on the one hand, you have amazing views and really nice atmosphere, but on the other hand, you're not very well connected to the rest of Austin. Alright, so now that we know where Steiner Ranch is, let's start ranking it, and I'm going to start with convenience and inconvenience, talk about lifestyle. So if we want to eat out somewhere, we have the Steiner Ranch Steakhouse, and then we have a couple of other places, but all in all, not a huge variety. And then if I need to drive somewhere, I need to drive out of Steiner, and then 20-30 minutes to get somewhere. There's a list of restaurants here. I would say from my subjective experience, I didn't really care for any of this all that much, but hey, you know, taste is subjective. And then if I want to go shopping, then I have Randall's and H-E-B and a couple of places, but typically I need to drive out of the neighborhood and drive towards the supercenter. And due to the fact that you don't have a big variety and you're kind of far apart from everything, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 6. Moving on to transportation, that's pretty much as bad as it gets, because you have one road in Steiner. So if you want to go out of the neighborhood, you have one road that you need to drive through, and then you have 2 exits, but they're kind of close together. So at the rush hour, you're going to have a bad time. When you're coming back, you might have a bad time. And the main thing is, once you go out of Steiner, now you need to drive through the 620 road, and that's not the great road either. And then you need to go through 222. Not a great road either, and definitely not a good name for a road. 2222, seriously. But the main point is you don't really have an actual highway, and it makes you slower every time you need to go somewhere. And then with regards to public transportation, you have a couple of bus stops, but it's not a lot. Hey, it's Texas, you already know public transportation is not the greatest here. And all in all, I am going to give it a 1 out of 6. Ouch.
Oh, that hurts.
Moving on to hub proximity, and we're not super far away, 30 minutes from downtown, that translate to 50-60 during traffic hours, and then 25 minutes away from the domain, about 35 minutes during peak traffic hours. So you're not super far away from the hubs compared to other suburban areas, so I'm going to give it a 3 out of 6. So with the convenience out of the way, let's proceed to surroundings, starting with the schools. And the public school system in Steiner Ranch is top-notch. You have Steiner Ranch Elementary and you have Laura Welch Bush Elementary. Both of them are excellent, especially Laura Welch Bush. The middle school is Canyon Ridge, and then for the high school you have Vandercrift and you have Cedar Park High School. You also have a couple of private schools if you want to check these out, the International School of Texas and the School in the Hills Montessori. But I should mention that the high schools are relatively far from the neighborhood, and that's just not the best situation if you don't have a car, if you need to start driving the kids around, or maybe rely on public transportation. If their friends are outside of Steiner, it's just not going to be a great experience. But schools are about the school, so I'm going to give it a 5 out of 6. Moving on to parks and greenery, definitely one of the main highlights of this neighborhood, because that's pretty much why you go to Steiner. You pretty much have it all there. You have biking, you have hiking, you have private trails, you can row with your kayak, you can take your boat to Lake Travis. It's just phenomenal. So I'm going to give it a full score of 6 out of 6. Moving on to community and crime, and that's another big aspect of Steiner. The community is very tight. Because of the way this neighborhood is structured, people are typically hanging out together.
You're stronger together than you are alone.
And what I've seen from clients of mine who live there is a very tight community. I think it's a great thing. You also have a lot of amenities from the HOAs, and you have a bunch of communities. Some of them are gated, so you can kind of pick and choose and see what is a better fit for you and for your budget. From the crime level perspective, it's relatively a good one. All in all, you don't really have tons of crime in Steiner or in any of the suburbs in Austin of this type of caliber. It's worth mentioning there is a senior living community in the neighborhood, the Longhorn Village, and that's nice because if you want to live there and you want to have maybe the parents close by, I think it's something that you should consider. So as you can see, while it did not perform super well in the convenience department, in the surroundings department, it performs really, really well. getting almost a perfect score of 16 out of 18. Moving on to real estate, and we're going to start with affordability, and Steiner is not cheap. It's not a cheap place to live in. But then again, when you look at the value proposition, I'm not sure it's that expensive either. Per the data in 2023, Q3 and Q4, the average price per square feet was $280 per square feet, and for the nicer homes, you're going to look at $325 to $350. These prices remind me of Cedar Park and Brushy Creek, maybe a tiny bit more expensive, but then again, it's not Northwest Hills and it's not Bee Cave, so it is a bit cheaper there. So all in all, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 6. Proceeding to scarcity, and it's very scarce. Steiner Ranch is very secluded and it's very landlocked because you are surrounded by the lake and by the hills. While you don't have any land reserves, it's pretty much depleted, you do have some properties that are not as nice. Surprisingly, the closer you get to the lake, you get like crazy nice properties and then some properties that are kind of older from the time that Steiner was nowhere. The demand to live in Steiner keeps rising, and all in all, I have to give it a 5 out of 6. Moving on to density, and most of the houses in Steiner Ranch are larger in nature. A lot of them are 3,000 to 5,000 square feet of size. They are spacious and airy, and because it's on a hillside, you do get some views sometimes, and that's a nice thing to have. Some of the houses there have 1 acre lots, some of them have like half an acre lot, and then the more suburban ones are traditional nature, and you do get these like 0.17 acre lots for the suburbs of Steiner Ranch. These are the properties that are a bit cheaper in price. Once you get close to the river, you can get multi-acre lots, but then it gets crazy expensive, and again, there are some properties there that sell for 7, 8, 10 million bucks in the gated communities that are right on the lake. So factoring all of that in, I'm going to give it a density score of 5 out of 6. Last but not least, character. And honestly, it's pretty much as good as it gets. It is overflowing with character between the hills, between the views, between the lake, between the actual character of the people who live there, because they live in this kind of secluded neighborhood. It has some sort of a magical artifact to it. So when you drive there, you can get the vibe, and most of the people that go there like the neighborhood as a neighborhood. It's the positioning that doesn't necessarily sit well with them. I have to give it a full score of 6 out of 6. So with all of that out of the way, let's look at the total score of Steiner Ranch, and it's scoring at 41 out of 60, and that's not great, but it's really important to double click on that and kind of see what the score is comprised of. It's not super convenient, but the surroundings and the real estate there is rather excellent, so it's all about what you prefer. Me personally, I like being closer to the centrum, but then again, I can definitely understand the magic of Steiner and why some people absolutely swear by it. We're going to put somewhere here the list of the other neighborhoods that we ranked that are suburban in nature and are comparable to Steiner Ranch, so you can kind of check out how it stacks against the competition and understand whether it's a great fit for you. And if you like Steiner Ranch, the other areas I would tell you to check out would be the hills, for sure, and then Spicewood. They are also ranked similarly close to this area. Let me know in the comments, do you agree with my ranking? What other neighborhoods in Austin I should rank? What would help you guys to make an informed decision? If you want to sit down together, look at all of these neighborhoods and understand which one of these neighborhoods are more aligned with your individual needs and preferences, reach out to me. You have my contact information here and in the comments, and I would love to help out. Remember, selecting a neighborhood and buying a home is more than just looking at pictures. You should understand the full scope, because once you move into a place, it's going to be kind of a hassle to move out of it, so make the right decision from the get-go. If you found some value in this video, I would really appreciate it if you leave me a like and a comment, and I'm looking forward to see you on the next one.